That's a clown question, bro.
Hi, what's up on you?
So I'm gonna kick some dirt.
He gets on base.
Just a bit outside.
I'm not the type of player that's going to be Johnny Hustle.
If you don't want me to watch the ball, you can go get it out of the ocean.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball. I'll say it Tuesdays and Thursdays, pretty much. We're on a good streak. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I feel like this is the first time, like since we were in the Springfield College radio studio, that we weren't talking baseball kind of whenever.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah, I mean, back in studio, it was Tuesdays and Thursdays 3 to 4, or Tuesdays 3 to 4 in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then our schedule has fluctuated, every few months, ever since then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, we're at school now. This is the first time. So these last, I think Mike Schmidt was the first history series that we did at school. And this is our, I believe, fourth one between player and team, I think. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is, because it was Schmidt, Dodgers, Greenberg, and now the Padres, which we're doing today. So I think it's easier for us to be on a stricter schedule now that we're actually at school.
Yeah. And
we have a lot of other priorities that we have to take care of as well.
And we're doing less for the show now that we're only doing one subject matter per week. So it's easier to be more organized. And yeah, it's only 2 episodes a week. And yeah, we've been on a pretty decent schedule thus far. Although this recording, it's kind of in a weird spot. We're doing it at about 10:30 at night, but we're doing it. We're releasing it Thursday.
Yeah, we are.
This
is what we do.
Yeah, this is the latest we've gone for one, but it's what we got to do. So yeah, we're talking about the 98 Padres this week. Probably the greatest Padres team thus far, but
subject to change.
Could change in the near future.
Yeah.
But this is kind of their headline team in their history.
So going into the 98 season, the Padres were in a weird spot. They finished 76 and 86 in 1997, which was last out of 4 teams in the NL West, of course, because the Arizona Diamondbacks did not exist in 1997. So there were only 4 teams. And a last place finish is always bad, but they actually won the division in 1996. So they took a major step back in 97, and 98 was, they needed to see if 97 was a fluke or if that was who they really were. And maybe 96 was a fluke, because before 96, the last time they had made the playoffs was 1984. And that was 14 years ago now. And that was also the last time they had won a playoff series. And as far as what the roster was looking like in comparison to last year, they only lost one major player, and it was, you may have heard of him. His name was Ricky Henderson. And he also played for the Padres, believe it or not, among like 10 other teams.
Yeah. Not 9 teams in total.
Yeah. And they made a couple of trades with some teams to get better. One of them was they traded 3 different players to the Florida Marlins to get a starting pitcher by the name of Kevin Brown. And they also traded for 2 relievers by the names of Dan Miceli and Donnie Wall. So this was a little bit of a new look Padres team, but they had something to prove. They had to prove that the 96 season was more accurate to who they were as a team. And they showed their grit very early in the season. The Padres started the season on the road in Cincinnati and in St. Louis. They took 2 of 3 from the Reds, and despite giving up 2 home runs to Mark McGwire in the series, they took 2 of 3 from the Redbirds as well. So going into their home opener, they were 4-2 on the year. Not bad. And in the home opener, the Padres could not touch Pete Harnisch, who was a starting pitcher on the, I believe it was the Braves that day. And they went into the 9th, down 2-0, and catcher Carlos Hernandez came up with the team down to their final out in the home opener.
Drive left center field. He might have had it. There it goes. It's out of here. Oh, doctor. Padres tied at 2.
An inning later, the crowd was rewarded for keeping the faith.
Here comes Tony Gwynn with a winning run, and the Padres win it.
The consecutive comeback wins set a tone that would continue through opening week. With this,
So the Padres with a comeback win during the home opener, Carlos Hernandez with the game-tying home run, and Greg Vaughn with the walk-off sac fly. A few days later, the Padres were playing their first ever game against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they were once again trailing. This time it was 4-2 in the ninth inning, but they had loaded the bases for Steve Finley.
Away from winning. High fly ball way back right field, and the Padres have won.
So Steve Finley with the walk-off grand slam there against the Diamondbacks, giving them a rude opening to their debut in San Diego. The Padres won 16 of their first 20 games on the season, catapulting them to an early 6.5 game division lead on April 23rd. Mind you, the season started on March 31st, so less than a month in, they were already looking at a week's worth of games up in the division. And towards the end of the month, Tony Gwynn was entering his age 38 season in 1998, but he quickly began proving that he could perform at any age on April 28th.
Gwynn, a double play candidate, but hard to double up when he hits the ball in the air toward left. It drops in front of Henry. Big turn by Veras, draws a throw back, and he's just in safely.
Sammy is playing well off the line in right, and Tony Gwynn will occasionally pull it, although you figure he's more of an alleys hitter.
Up the middle, base hit. Brown charges. There will be no play at the plate.
Well, when you walk Steve Finley to get to Tony Gwynn, you got a problem, and the Cubs find themselves with a problem here tonight. He was hit last time, and he's 2 for 2 tonight.
He reaches out, loops it into right field on a hit and run. Finley's going to make third with ease. First and third, nobody out in the fifth. And the Cub bullpen immediately scrambles into action.
3 for 3 tonight and scored a couple of runs.
1-1 to Gwynn. Little squibber toward the left side. Ori deflects it. Blauser picks it up. Not in time.
Cardinals coming to town. It's always a wonderful weekend. A lot of folks come up from St. Louis to visit our great city.
Gwynn sends a drive deep toward right. He's 5 for 5. He's had one 6-hit game in his career. He's got another 5-hit game tonight.
The Cubs will not have to worry about Tony Gwynn until the middle of September, and that is a welcome sight as Tony Gwynn pumps it up. His third home run of the year, his 14th driven in, 4 singles and a home run, and the Padres lead by 4.
A hell of a game for the 38-year-old Tony Gwynn. Keeps on doing what he's been doing his whole career, no matter what age. The Padres finished the month of April with a 19-7 record on the season. That is the best winning percentage the franchise had ever had through the first full month of a season. That is a .730 winning percentage. They were 5 games up in the division at the end of April, and San Diego's pitching was its backbone throughout the month. Their pitcher FOR was tied for third in the majors, and one of those great pitchers was Kevin Brown, who went 2-2, which is tough luck. 2-2 with a 2.40 ERA, and he was the only pitcher in the National League with 8 strikeouts per 9 and a sub 180 walks per 9. He also had a 1.3 FOR, which was 5th in the majors. And then Andy Ashby was another great starting pitcher on the Padres. He went 4-1 in the month with a 2.53 ERA and a 1.1 FOR.
So now the Padres, after a hot start, we're getting a little cooler in the month of May. And, you know, we've all heard about Tony Gwynn's amazing career stats against the game's best pitchers. And on May 8th, he was busy creating that legacy against Hall of Famer Tom Glavine.
90 for the year with 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. He was 2 for 3 last night. And he swings and drives Glavin's first pitch deep to right center field. Andrew Jones will not catch up with that one. Tony Gwynn's 5th homer of the year.
So Tony Gwynn mashing the Braves pitching once again, and the Padres ended up winning that game 3-2, and Andy Ashby got the win over Tom Glavine. The Padres, in fact, were very streaky throughout May. They went 16-14 during the month and remained in first place by 2.5 games. The pitching was still stellar, but the offense hadn't really performed to its potential yet. And now onto the offensive explosion that was waiting to happen. So after briefly dropping to second place in the division, the Padres went on an 11-game win streak to bring their lead to 5.5 games. The Padres averaged 6.7 runs per game during this streak, and Ken Caminiti during the streak. Caminiti during the streak slashed 278, 386, 611 for a 997 OPS with 3 home runs, 6 RBI, and 7 walks. Greg Vaughn slashed 308, 460, 769, 1229 with 5 home runs, 13 RBI, and 11 walks.
That is in 11 games, mind you.
During the 11-game win streak. And in June, they went 18-9 and boosted their regular season record to 53-30. And they were 5.5 games up by the month's end. And Greg Vaughn, throughout that month, slashed 307, 403, 683, 1086 with a 453 WOBA, 185 weighted runs created plus, and 1.5 FWAR. And Quilvio Veras slashed 345, 437, 483 for a 920 OPS, 408 WOBA, 155 weighted runs created plus, and 1.0 FWAR. And Ken Caminiti slashed 291, 394, 512, 906 with a 383 WOBA, 138 weighted runs created plus. And the Padres won 4 of their first 5 games in the month of July and finished the first half 57-31, 5.5 games up in the National League West.
So now we head into the All-Star break for the Padres, and they were very well represented in Colorado for the All-Star game. Andy Ashby, Kevin Brown, Tony Gwynn, Trevor Hoffman, and Greg Vaughn were all representing the Padres in the Midsummer Classic. And all of them deserved it. Andy Ashby was 11-5 at the break. If you have 11 wins at the break in 1998, you're automatically an All-Star. It doesn't matter if you also have a 2.54 ERA that ranks 3rd in the National League. Kevin Brown was 10-3. Mind you, he was 2-2 in April. So put 2 and 2 together, that would have been 8-1 between May, June, and July, the first part of July, with a 2.67 ERA on the year, which was 5th in the National League, and also 8.15 strikeouts per 9. This might sound crazy, but Tony Gwynn, he had a really good batting average.
Wow.
His 329 batting average was 7th in the National League, and his 3.4 strikeout percentage led the majors. Trevor Hoffman was 25-25 in save opportunities in the first half, and his 2.04 FIP led the majors. Greg Vaughn also had a 2.96. Greg Vaughn slashed 296, 379, 657 for a 1036 OPS in the first half with 30 home runs. He was one of just 4 players to have 30 home runs by the break. You can probably guess who 2 of the others were. He also had a 432 WOBA and a 170 weighted runs created plus. So now let's get to the All-Star game. The National League All-Stars loaded the bases in the 3rd inning, and Tony Gwynn was brought up with 1 out.
I mean, he goes 5 for 5 or 6 for 6.
Toward the middle. It's off Valomar's glove. A run is home and then 2. Gwynn with a huge turnaround first because Tomey had sped to the middle of the diamond. Now he trots back. 2 runs home and runners at 1st and 3rd for McGuire.
Tony Gwynn is just a...
So Tony Gwynn drives in 2 runs on a single up the middle off of the rocket. Roger Clemens, arguably the greatest pitcher of all time. And in the bottom of the 8th, the American League was winning the game 10-6. And Greg Vaughn came up looking to tighten that gap.
Be down toward the bottom without Greg Vaughn this year.
He hits it hard, and it takes a wicked hop past Brocious. 1 run home, now 2. It's 10-8 with 2 on and nobody out.
So Greg Vaughn drives in some runs, and the Padres, they did contribute pretty well in the All-Star game. All 3 of Kevin Brown, Trevor Hoffman, and Andy Ashby appeared in the game. We won't talk about 2 of them, but Kevin Brown faced 2 batters and didn't allow a run, but an inherited runner did score. But the American League did end up winning despite the offensive contributions from Gwynn and Vaughn. But that's not important right now because that doesn't matter. I don't think that matters yet as far as home field in the World Series, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's like 0-2 or 0-3.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. So now the Padres got to get right back into it. And during the beginning of the second half, Trevor Hoffman, one of the greatest closers of all time, was going for a record.
Back in front of 54,176 and most on their feet when Trevor Hoffman came walking in beyond the left field line from a San Diego Padres bullpen, and why not? Hoffman perfect on the season, 32 of 32 in save opportunities, and he's trying to etch his name in the record books. His 40 straight saves over 2 seasons, as you look at the numbers, are 1 shy of Rod Beck's major league record. 3-2 pitch. Rod came out, foul tipped into the mid of Hernandez. 3-1 pitch, popped up and playable for Hernandez. And now Hoffman an out away from matching Rod Beck's major league record of 41 consecutive saves. To break an all-time franchise attendance record. They love their Padres, and they love when Hoffman's on the pitch in the ninth. The strike away from a 1-run win. And that's it.
So Trevor Hoffman picks up his 41st consecutive save. That ties a major league record. And Chris, I know that Mariano Rivera is universally considered the greatest relief pitcher of all time, and I can't argue that, but I think we can all agree that Hoffman had the greatest reliever entrance ever.
Yeah, it's Hoffman with Hell's Bells and Uehara with Sandstorm.
With Darude Sandstorm, yeah. So the Padres continued cruising through the month of July. They finished the month with a 71-38 record on the season. Very impressive stuff there from San Diego, just continuing onward. And in the month of August, they continued to do the same. In fact, through June, July, and August, the Padres went a combined 54-28 during those 3 months. And that is a .658 winning percentage. And in August alone, Kevin Brown continued his domination, going 4-2 with a 1.33 ERA, a 10.08 strikeouts per 9, and a 1.52 walks per 9. Also, Sterling Hitchcock, another starting pitcher, joined the party. He went 4-2 with a 3.43 ERA, 9.86 Ks per 9, and 1.29 walks per 9. The pitching as a whole led the league in FWAR during the month of August with a 6.1. They also led an ERA with a 2.98 and walks per 9 with a 2.4. And after the month of August, the division was pretty much a wrap. They were 89-49, 15 games up. However, the race for the top seed in the NL was very much on. The Braves were 1 game up on the Padres with a 90-48 record, and the Astros were 3 games behind the Braves, 2 games behind the Padres with an 87-51 record going into September.
So the Padres kind of go on to a sluggish September. The Padres got off to a slow start to the month as they lost 6 of their first 9 games in that month. However, that did not stop them from finishing the job that they started when they came into spring training.
Shirts being swung, voices raised as one. Got him. There it is. The National League Western crown, and rightly so, preserved by Trevor Hoffman. For a club that was down 7-0 and refused to quit, they deserved it. The game and the Western Division title. And
so the Padres are National League West champions.
And mind you, just like Vince Scully said, they were down 7-0 in that game. They climbed all the way back and won.
Yeah, they did a comeback game to seal the deal. And Trevor Hoffman was also looking for more history on September 14th in the wake of their division title victory.
Got him swinging, ball game over. 3 straight changeups. Hoffman saves number 50, and the Padres beat the Cubs 4-3.
So Hoffman gets save number 50. Hoffman gets save number 50 and cements his 1998 as probably one of his best seasons.
That's his best season.
His best season for sure. The Padres went 9-15 in the month of September, but they finished the year 98-64.
So now we're going to take a look at the Fire Friars from 1998. We're going to start with Greg Vaughn, who slashed 272, 363, 597, 960 with a 156 OPS plus, a 6.3 B WAR, and 50 home runs. Fortunately, his 50th home run is not anywhere to be seen on the internet, but I'm sure it looked awesome. He also had 11 stolen bases, and this is the only season in Padres history and only one of 4 seasons in National League history where a guy had 50 home runs and 10 stolen bases. Well deserved. He got 4th in the MVP voting, and not much to argue when you see the other contenders for National League MVP in 1998. It's hard to disagree with that.
Right.
Trevor Hoffman had himself a year. He went 4-2 with a 1.48 ERA, a 2.04 FIP, and he went 53 for 54 in save opportunities. Unfortunately, the one blown save was the one where he was going for number 42 in a row, which is kind of sad, but oh well. He had a 2.65 ERA plus in 73 innings pitched. This was the first season in baseball history with 70 plus innings pitched, a 2.50 plus ERA plus, and 50 plus saves. This got him 2nd in the Cy Young vote and 7th in the MVP vote. Tony Gwynn, he slashed 321, 364, 501, 865 with a 133 OPS plus and 18 strikeouts. That is the only qualifying season. By the way, he had 505 plate appearances and only struck out 18 times. It is the only qualifying season by a player in their age 38 season or older since 1933 with a 320 plus batting average and less than 20 strikeouts. This got him 15th in the MVP vote. Now I'd like to talk about Kevin Brown because I have a take with him. He went 18-7 on the year with a 2.38 ERA, a 1.64 ERA plus, exactly 9 strikeouts per 9. He literally had 157 strikeouts in 157 innings pitched. He got 16th in the MVP vote. Hard to dispute that. But 3rd in the Cy Young vote. And I know that he got beat by one of his own teammates, but let me tell you why Kevin Brown should have been the National League Cy Young Award winner in 1998. The winner was Tom Glavine, who picked up his 2nd Cy Young Award. His first was in 1991. Kevin Brown had a better ERA, 2.38 to his 2.47. He had better strikeout numbers because Tom Glavine had 229 innings pitched and 157 strikeouts. Kevin Brown had 257 and 257, not 157 each, my bad. He had 257 strikeouts and 257 innings pitched. He also had a higher B-WAR, 8.6 to 6.1, but Tom Glavine went 20-6 and Kevin Brown went 18-7. Remember that April where Kevin Brown went 2-2 with a 2.4 ERA?
Yeah.
Makes you think, Chris. Things could have been different in that vote if the Padres had scored some more runs in April during his starts.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to look at the whole season.
I mean, it's a shame because he went 18-7 versus 20-6. That's not that much of a discrepancy. So it's, if you were to flip one of those losses, it becomes 19-6. So they were basically on the same part with wins. And I think Kevin Brown should have been awarded the Cy Young, but oh well. Andy Ashby had a successful year. He went 19-7. I'm surprised he didn't get Cy Young consideration with a 3.34 ERA, 1.17 ERA plus, and 226 2/3 innings pitched. Also, their first baseman, Wally Joyner, had a year. He slashed 298, 370, 453 for an 824 OPS, 124 OPS plus with 12 home runs and 80 RBI. And lastly on the offense, Ken Caminiti slashed 252, 353, 509, 862. Very good walk numbers from him. That gave him an 832 OPS plus, 29 home runs, and 82 RBI. Also, Donnie Wall and Dan Miceli, both of the relievers they got in a trade. They each had a 120 plus ERA plus in at least 70 innings pitched. So they had success out of the bullpen. And Bruce Bochy, their manager, finished second in the National League of Manager of the Year voting. Well-deserved from Boch. But now the Padres have to have a tall task in the playoffs. And I literally mean they have a tall task. They have to face the Houston Astros in one of the best offensive seasons they've ever had as a franchise. But they got to face the unit, Chris.
Yeah.
In one of the best 2-month spans he had in his entire career, nonetheless.
Right. Yeah. It was unbelievable. He had a 1.28 ERA and 11 starts.
Yeah. So game one is Randy Johnson versus Kevin Brown, and they were both dealing early. In the top of the sixth, the Padres loaded the bases against the unit and gave Jim Leyritz, their catcher, an RBI chance with no one out.
3 men out, nobody out. That's a high drive, deep into left center field. Everett back on the warning track. Gwynn will score, and everybody else moves up to throw. Safe at second. Caminiti just beat the strong throw by Everett. And Jim Leyritz has put the Padres ahead 1-0. And I tell you what.
So Jim Leyritz with a sac fly to put someone on the board, make it a 1-0 game. Later in the eighth, Greg Vaughn was leading off the inning.
Several of his teammates commented that they were glad he did it because he really, they thought, was struggling to do it. That ball is belted high and deep, but Alou is back looking up. This one is gone. And now he has done it in the division series. 2-0 San Diego. So the 50 home run man has gone deep, and that's what they were hoping for. They thought he had gotten out of his game, trying so hard to hit that 50th. And they were hopeful that he would get back into his normal swing. Well, look at this. He's got 3 hits in the game.
So Greg Vaughn touching up the big unit, 3 hits on the day, including that long ball. And meanwhile on the mound, Kevin Brown was out dealing Randy Johnson.
In this century, 1-2 to Biggio. Struck him out in the dirt. And makes him throw to Joyner. 16 strikeouts for Kevin Brown. In the 8th inning, he has struck out the side. And the Padres are leading after 8.
So you heard that right. That was Kevin Brown's 16th strikeout on the day in the 8th inning. And Brown is, to this day, the only pitcher in postseason history to produce a start with 16 plus strikeouts, 0 earned runs, and less than 4 hits allowed. And on that less than 4 hits allowed, he allowed 2. So he was not, that is not cherry picked at all. The Padres ended up winning the game 2-1, going up 1-0 in the series and getting that win against Randy Johnson. So now in game 2, the Padres got off to a bit of a rough start as the Astros were up 3-0 by the third. However, the Padres got 2 back in the 6th on RBIs from Finley and Gwynn. And the Padres went into the 9th trailing 4-2. They were down to their final out with the tying run at the plate in the form of Jim Leyritz.
The outfield deep all the way around. Down the right field line. This one is slicing back and a home run. It is tied up. Leyritz hit the foul pole to tie the game.
Well, the Astros and Billy Wagner are snake bit. 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the guy hits a home run off the foul pole the opposite way.
So Jim Leyritz with a huge home run to tie it with 2 outs in the 9th. One little anecdote, Chris. We've been doing this history series for a while. We're almost done. One thing I'm really going to miss is just hearing Joe Morgan's color commentary.
Yeah, it's
He was so good, man.
the best. He's definitely of all color analysts, he's got the best voice. Like,
Yes.
he could have very easily done play-by-play as well.
He's good at color, though. Trevor Hoffman unfortunately struggled in the 9th as the Astros got the winning run to third with Bill Spears coming up as the batter.
Your fastball, and if you hold it back in your hand, it won't come out as quickly.
There it is. Gutierrez scores. The Astros have won the game they had to win. And they're going to San Diego tied at 1.
Well, it's a changeup.
So the Astros get the walk-off win in game 2. As for the Padres, they go back to San Diego with time to reset after a tough loss. And in game 3, it was once again a pitcher's duel, this time by, yes, Kevin Brown went on 2 days rest. He went on 2 days rest against Mike Hampton. And in the bottom of the 6th, Chris Gomez of the Padres led off with a single, and he would later be on third for Tony Gwynn.
Pitcher goes home. It is 2-0. This could be 2. They get 1. Back to first. And not in time. Gomez scores, and the Padres have taken a 1-0 lead. After going 0-2.
So Tony Gwynn legs out the fielder's choice, bringing in a run. The Padres were on the board. And unfortunately, Kevin Brown struggled in the 7th. He gave up 1 run on an RBI walk. So that obviously suggests that he let a lot of base runners on if he allowed a run on the walk. However, the damage of that inning could have been a lot worse.
Near the strike zone, he'll probably swing it.
That's a base hit into right center. Alou's going to try for third. Here's Gwynn's throw. He is out.
Quickly, he gets himself set up, throws the ball, a little bit of rainbow in it. Let's look at this thing closely here. Dives. Ooh, baby.
So Tony Gwynn with the unreal throw to get Moses Alou at third and prevent a run and eventually give the Astros the lead in that inning. But the Padres needed to retake the lead as it was tied, and Jim Leyritz looked to do just that.
Leyritz the hitter. Untouchable. Leyritz, high and deep to left field. He has done it again. Wow, what a shot. 2-1, San Diego.
So Jim Leyritz racking up those win probability added points with a go-ahead home run after the game, tying home run the game before. The Padres were now up, and in the ninth, Trevor Hoffman looked to put them one game away from the NLCS.
The Padres an out away, a strike away of going to the National League Championship Series for the first time since '84. On the ground, Veras throws, and the Padres will march to Atlanta.
So the Padres defeat the Astros 3-1 in the National League Division Series, and they move on to face the Atlanta Braves. In the NLDS, as you can imagine, Jim Leyritz would have won NLDS MVP as if it existed. He slashed 400, 364, 1,300 for a 1664 OPS with 3 home runs and 5 RBI. Kevin Brown also dealt in 2 games during that series, pitching 14-2 with thirds innings, 1 earned run, and 21 strikeouts. Wally Joyner slashed 167, 286, 667, 952 with 1 home run, 2 RBI, and a walk. Greg Vaughn was also very good. He slashed 333, 333, 600 for a 933 OPS. And lastly, Carlos Hernandez, their catcher, in 12 at-bats, slashed 417, 462, 417, 878. And the Padres are on to the NLCS.
All right, we're good to go. There we go. We're still recording and NLCS. And now we're in the NLCS. In game 1, the game was 1-0 after 3 innings on a home run by Andrew Jones. And in the 5th, Carlos Hernandez hit a leadoff single off John Smoltz. Later in the inning, Tony Gwynn came up looking to knot the game up.
An opportunity for San Diego, down by a run in the 5th inning with their best at the plate. Gwynn delivers. Hernandez rounds third, heads to the plate. Going to third is Veras, and it's a 1-1 game as Gwynn is 2 out of 3.
That is a patented Tony Gwynn swing right there. Line drive left central. Padres have 3 hits, not a surprise. Tony with 2, and he drives in the first run of the ball game for the Padres.
And it's a 1.
So Tony Gwynn knots the game up, makes it a 1-1 ball game, and the game stayed 1-1 for a while until Ruben Rivera scored on an error
for the Padres.
The Padres went into the 9th up 2-1, but Trevor Hoffman blew the save on a game-tying sac fly from Andrew Jones. The game went into extras, and in the 10th, Ken Caminiti came up trying to get something started for San Diego.
1 out, nobody on, and Caminiti into center field. Andrew Jones back at the track at the wall. Caminiti to put the Padres on top. 3-2 in the 10th.
So Ken Caminiti makes it a 3-2 ball game in extra innings. And in the bottom of the 10th, it was up to Donnie Wall.
Now 2 on, 2 out for Galarraga. 0 for 4 tonight. And he pops it into center field. Finley back near the track. Game 1 to San Diego. Trevor Hoffman will get the victory. Kerry Lightenberg will suffer the loss. And Donnie Wall will pick up the save. So Bruce Bochy goes.
So the Padres in extras get game one of the National League Championship Series against the National League team of the 90s. And in game two, Kevin Brown was on the hill for this game. And it was absolutely 100% Kevin Brown's game.
And here's the right-hander, Kevin Brown, who was tough on Atlanta last NLCS while pitching with Florida.
Last 7 starts for Kevin Brown's against the Atlanta Braves. He is 5-0. Earned run average around 2.
Weiss strikes out looking on a pitch over the outside corner, and Brown starts it with a strikeout. 3-2 pitch to Lockhart. Gets him back-to-back strikeouts to start.
This is a high fastball to Lockhart. Nobody in baseball changes the level of vision for a hitter more than Kevin Brown.
The 3-2 to Jones. Struck him out, and Brown strikes out the side. Lopez off the plate. Joyner fires to second, out, back to first. The Padres just turned a beautiful double play. 3-6-1 with Kevin Brown covering first.
Boy, was that nicely done.
There's number 4. A comebacker to Brown. 2 up, 2 down in a hurry here in the 3rd inning for the Braves.
And you think you're going to catch that ball in the sweet part of the glove, but when you do, I mean, it just chews that left hand up.
And he chews up Andrew Jones for strikeout number 5. And he strikes out Michael Tucker, and that's 6 strikeouts tonight for the veteran right-hander. And Klesko is gone for strikeout number 7 for Kevin Brown. Inning over. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 8 on the night for Kevin Brown. Again, the 0-2. Lockhart is gone, and that's strikeout number 9 for Kevin Brown. 2 gone. 10 strikeouts for Kevin Brown. And the Padres are 1 out away from sweeping the first 2 games of this series in Atlanta. Got him over the outside corner. An 11 strikeout night for Kevin Brown. And the Padres have just swept the first 2 games of this LCS here in Atlanta. If they win it on the bat of Ken Caminiti here last night in the 10th inning with a home run, tonight they win it on the arm and on the bat of Kevin Brown here tonight.
Overwhelming.
Kevin Brown shuts it down for the San Diego Padres. And the Padres scored throughout the game on RBIs from Veras, Finley, and Joyner. And Kevin Brown remains one of 3 players with multiple outings of 8+ innings pitched, 0 runs allowed, and 10+ strikeouts in a single postseason.
How about that?
And the others that joined him in that category, Randy Johnson in 2001 and Sandy Koufax in 1965. Pretty unbelievable.
If you know this history series, you know that those are 2 very good postseasons.
Yeah, 2 of the greatest of all time. You know, Sandy only did it in 1 series because that's all he had, but it was pretty crazy. You know, 2 complete game shutouts, pretty wild. Then on to game 3 of the National League Championship Series. Sterling Hitchcock and Greg Maddux were each dealing. It was 1-0 Atlanta through 4, and in the bottom of the 5th, Hitchcock helped himself and singled, then later moved to second on a groundout. With 2 outs in the inning, Steve Finley looked to cash in.
Into left center field. Andrew Jones, can he get there? No. Down and to the wall. Hitchcock will score, and we're tied at 1.
So Finley ties it up to make it a 1-1 ball game. And after an intentional walk to Tony Gwynn, the batter was Ken Caminiti.
You're getting closer.
It's hard to say it fast. If you try to
Ken
say it
Caminiti.
fast, that's where you get screwed.
Caminiti needed any extra incentive to get Maddox. He got it with the intentional walk to Gwynn. Up the middle, through. Base hit. Here comes Finley. Over to third is Gwynn, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
So the Padres go up 2-1 on the base hit of Ken Caminiti. And in the 8th, Carlos Hernandez came up with a man on first, looking to add some insurance in this Padres potential victory.
To a 2-1 lead. Carlos Hernandez, a rip into the corner. This will score Wally Joyner all the way from first. There's an error there on the left fielder there, and Wally scores, make it 3-1. Padres get another to make it 4-1. And then in the 9th, Trevor Hoffman comes in and does what Trevor Hoffman does best. Gets the final out here. Tony puts it away. Padres win 4-1. They lead this series 3-0, and now are just 1 win away from going to the World Series.
You heard it right there. 1 win away from winning the pennant in 1998. And the Padres, of course, won that game 4-1. And in game 4, the Padres were 1 win away from the pennant. And Tony Gwynn was ready to get the party started, ready for those champagne corks to loosen a little bit.
Gwynn pulls it into right center field. Tucker won't get it. Digging for third is Veras. They're going to bring him to the plate. Relay from Gian. Not in time. 1-0 San Diego. Or is bounced up against the wall.
So Tony Gwynn gives the Padres the lead 1-0. And 2 batters later, Jim Leyritz looked to drive in another run.
Leyritz into right, a base hit. Gwynn scores, and it's 2-0 Padres.
So the Padres up now 2-0. And the Padres, with this 2-0 lead, unfortunately blew it when the Braves tied that game by the score of 2-2. And in the 7th, after the Padres had taken the lead on a Jim Leyritz home run, the wheels unfortunately began to fall off. Joey Hamilton and Randy Myers had loaded the bases after already giving up the lead, and the batter was the big cat, Andres Galarraga.
A 2-run inning, and Galarraga pounds it into deep left center field. Grand slam, Galarraga. He opens it up. It's 8-3 Braves here in the 7th. Andres Galarraga finally busts through in a major way with a grand slam in the 7th inning. It's only his 2nd hit of this series and his first RBI.
So Andres Galarraga kind of inserts the dagger on it, that insurance grand slam, and the Braves ended up winning the game 8-3. Then in game 5, the Padres had a second chance to clinch, and this time it was Ken Caminiti getting them off and running.
What it wanted as he cranked one off of John Smoltz. This was pretty dramatic. First inning, 2 outs. Just sneaks over the fence there for a 2-run homer. Padres had a 2-0 lead. Michael Tucker, though, was a thorn in their side.
So Ken Caminiti with the opposite field home run, giving them a 2-0 lead. And the Padres were up, but the Braves would once again tie the game. However, John Vanderwall came up in the bottom of the 6th with a man on.
With 2 outs, but instead Michael Tucker got the RBI single. But John Vanderwall off of Smoltz with 2 outs after Wally Joyner had reached on an infield single, gave the Padres a 4-2 lead with that home run in the 6th inning. And Kevin Towers is looking brilliant. This was a dramatic.
So a very similar home run. Opposite field from a left-handed batter makes it 4-2. And unfortunately for the Padres, the team of the 90s was not going down that easily. Kevin Brown got himself into some trouble in the 7th, and Michael Tucker was up as the go-ahead run for the Atlanta Braves.
Driven into deep right field at the track. The wall, a 3-run home run. Michael Tucker and the Atlanta Braves take a 5-4 8th inning lead. Michael Tucker with all 5 Atlanta RBIs tonight out of the number 8 spot in Bobby Cox's lineup.
So the Padres lose the lead, making it 5-4 Braves. And the Braves ended up winning that game by the score of 7-4. And then in game 6, it was a scoreless pitchers duel between Sterling Hitchcock and Tom Glavine through 5 innings. After Greg Vaughn and Ken Caminiti hit back-to-back singles with 1 out in the 6th, Jim Leyritz looked to put San Diego on the board finally.
Runner was going to the plate is Vaughn. The Padres take the lead on an RBI ground out by Jim Leyritz. 1-0 San Diego here in the 6th inning.
So a lead is taken on an RBI ground out. How fitting in a pitcher's duel like that. Makes it a 1-0 ball game. The next batter was Wally Joyner.
Joyner back up the middle and through. Here comes Caminiti. The throw by Andrew Jones not made. It's 2-0 San Diego in the 6th.
So San Diego extends the lead to 2-0. And the Padres were now up 2-0, and later in the inning, the bases were loaded with 1 out, but the batter, unfortunately, was their pitcher, Sterling Hitchcock. So Tom Glavine probably going to take easy care of him.
The 0-2 pitch on the way. Swinging a bloop into left field. That's got a chance. That's got a chance. And coming on off the glove of Batista. 1 run scores. Here comes Finley. The Padres have broken it open here in Game 6 in Atlanta.
So exactly, the Padres have broken it open with the bases loaded in 2 outs and their pitcher up to the plate. And the lead was doubled by this.
It was a reach on error, technically. It was
reach on error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Blue pit.
Yeah, it's a very controversial error call, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah. On this, display of a guy reaching on base. So the lead was doubled, but Quilvio Veras just needed to make sure that there was no comeback in store tonight from the Braves.
2 down, 1 ball, 1 strike on Veras. A line drive, base hit into right center. Gomez will score, and it's 5-0 San Diego in the 5th. Make it to the 6th inning. A base hit by Veras makes it a 5-run frame. 6th inning, and it's 5-0 Padres.
So the lead is extended to 5-0. And the game would stay by that score of 5-0 as Sterling Hitchcock absolutely dealt. And in the 9th, it was all Trevor Hoffman, like it usually was for the Padres in 1998.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's on the way to Tucker. Drive left center field in the air. Coming on quickly. Finley. He's under. He's got it. And the Padres drape the National League flag around their shoulders for 1998. Oh, Tucker! A tremendous ball game, said Leitner. I can't believe this. This club never quit, kept going, and they beat two of the best teams in baseball, both of whom won over 100 games, and the Padres knocked them both off.
So the Padres are National League champions for the second time in their franchise history. And the men who should be credited the most, Sterling Hitchcock, won National League Championship Series MVP going 2-0, pitching 10 innings with a .90 ERA, only one earned run allowed in 10 innings, along with 14 strikeouts in those 10 innings. Also, Ken Caminiti, /273, 407, 545 for a 953 OPS, along with 2 home runs, 4 RBI, and 5 walks. Steve Finley was also great, slashing .333, 481, 381 for an 862 OPS, along with 2 RBI and 6 walks. And Andy Ashby was another great starter. He threw 13 innings, had a 2.08 ERA, and 2 walks. And now they are on to the Fall Classic.
So they are in the Bronx facing the 114-win New York Yankees. And if you want to learn more about that team, we did an episode on them. Chris, do you want to remind them what episode it was?
Part 2, episode 80, I believe.
Yeah, that is the 1998 Yankees.
In fact, last show under the show to be named later emblem.
Very true. Very true. So after Kevin Brown gave up a 2-run double to, in the second, okay, let me restart that. So in game 1 of the World Series, after Kevin Brown gave up a 2-run double in the second, Greg Vaughn came up as the tying run in the third.
Vaughn into right center field. Well hit. Back at the track. The wall. This game is tied. Greg Vaughn goes deep into right center field. Gets his second postseason home run of this year and ties the Yankees at 2 here in the third.
So Greg Vaughn with a big home run there to tie the game. And later on in the 5th, Kilvio Veras hit a 2-run single off of David Wells. 2-out single off of David Wells. I'm sorry. So with a man on, Gwynn and Vaughn were due up.
Ripped down the right field line at the track at the wall. Gone. Off the facing at the bottom of the upper deck. And Tony Gwynn goes deep with his first postseason home run to put San Diego out in front 4-2.
Takes a slide step and an inside fastball, and does Gwynn ever unload? You talk about turning on an inside fastball. Wow.
Now, Tony Gwynn is the kind of hitter that could probably hit 25 or 30 home runs in a season if he altered his swing and tried to hook the ball to right field. But see, from the power he displayed right there, he's got a lot of size.
Now Vaughn down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a fair ball back-to-back, and it's all of a sudden a 5-2 San Diego lead here in game 1. Greg Vaughn gets his second of the night. Back-to-back Gwynn and Vaughn, and it's a 3-run Padre lead here in the 5th.
So Greg Vaughn and Tony Gwynn, not in that order. They go back-to-back. By the way, that Gwynn ball was freaking crushed.
Yeah, that really tested the limits of Yankee Stadium as a building.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wish StatCast was around in 1998 because that ball got out quickly and it hit off the upper deck facade. So, like,
yeah,
I mean, that ball was smoked. The Padres are now up 5-2. They are proving that they can hang with the 114-win Yankees. But the Yankee machine knows no deficit. In the 7th, Kevin Brown began to hit a wall, and then Donnie Wall gave up a 3-run game-tying home run to Chuck Knobloch. So now it's a 5-5 game. And after Wall and Mark Langston loaded the bases, Langston had a chance to retire Tino Martinez to retire the side and keep the game at 5-5.
Martinez down the right field line. Grand slam.
So Tino Martinez hits a grand slam, and there was no coming back from that one. The Yankees end up winning that game 9-6. So now we go into game 2, and Andy Ashby also struggled mightily, in fact. The Yankees were up 7-0 by the 3rd. And in the 5th inning, Kilvio Veras came up with a man on 3rd looking to put San Diego on the board.
Veras, a broken bat. Base hit down the right field line. In to score is Gomez. Veras ends up at second with an RBI double. It's 7-1 New York here in the 5th inning.
So Kilvio Veras gets the Padres on the board. As you can imagine, it wasn't enough. The Yankees end up winning that game 9-3. So the Padres now go to San Diego trailing 2-0, and they need these games. And game 3 was a duel between Sterling Hitchcock and David Cone. Hitchcock also led off the bottom of the 6th with a single in a 0-0 ball game. And that was followed by a Kilvio Veras walk, which brought up Tony Gwynn with a man in scoring position.
His swings this year.
To the right side and through. They will bring Hitchcock to the plate. No throw by O'Neill. 1-0 San Diego. Now the throw gets away. It heads into the dugout. To the plate is Veras, and it's 2-0 Padres.
So Tony Gwynn coming through once again, putting the Padres on the board. And 2 batters later, Ken Caminetti was up with Gwynn on 3rd.
Into center field. Williams back at the track to make the catch. Tagging and scoring is Gwynn, and it's 3-0 San Diego.
So Ken Caminetti with another run being put on the board, 2-0 Padres, but unfortunately Sterling Hitchcock slowed down in the 7th as the Yankees ended up taking a 3-run 7th inning for the lead. The Padres got the score to within 1 run, but they just couldn't come through. The Yankees won game 3, 5-4, and the Padres are now 1 game away from elimination. And then in game 4, Kevin Brown pitched very well once again, but the Padres offense just couldn't touch Andy Pettitte. And in the 9th, the Padres were down to their final out in the series against Mariano Rivera.
And now Mariano Rivera.
I think what Joe Torre is thinking, and this is a terrific move that if you're looking for a fastball, you're going to get the best fastball that we have to offer right now, and that's Mariano Rivera.
Into center field for Bernie Williams. The basket catch to end the 8th inning.
Padres need base runners to get the tying run up there.
Ground ball to Jeter. The flick for one on to first. A double play. 6-4-3, and the Yankees are 1 out away. The starter of tonight's game as Sweeney grounds to third. Brocious fittingly with a throw, and the Yankees have done it again. Number 24. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998.
So the New York Yankees go on to win the 1998 World Series, and the Padres are swept. In the series, Tony Gwynn did not shy away from the big stage. He slashed 500, 529, 688 with a 12-17 OPS. He hit 1 home run, had 3 RBIs, and also had a walk. Chris Gomez did a pretty good job for the Padres, slashing 364, 417, 545, and 962. And lastly, Sterling Hitchcock. He only pitched 1 game, but he went 6 innings and had a 1.50 ERA. So this Padres team, they didn't win the World Series, and that's okay because they had a lot of reasons to still hold their heads high after the 98 season. Going after a last place 97, following it up with probably the best season their franchise has ever had to this day. Nothing to be ashamed of, even if you lost to the 114-win Yankees. This team established Kevin Brown as the forgotten great pitcher of the 90s. I mean, if you go ahead and look at the pitcher F4 leaders throughout the 90s, Kevin Brown is right up there with all the greats. He's up there with Randy Johnson. He's up there with Greg Maddux. He's up there with Curt Schilling. He's right in the mix. And 98 was really the season that highlights him the most out of anyone else. Also, Tony Gwynn had kept it going at age 38. I mean, he would get his 3,000th hit the next season, which was awesome for him. But, going into another season like this, just keeping it, sticking with his scripts, less than 20 strikeouts and over 500 plate appearances with a 320 average. I mean, that's only things that he could do practically. Anything else on those two, Chris?
Yeah, Kevin Brown is a guy that just gets absolutely 100% lost in history.
Which is weird because he's also the first guy to sign a $100 million deal.
Yeah, I guess he was a bigger deal back then, but, even with or without the Mitchell report pointing him out, he probably would have had a hard time getting into the Hall of Fame just because, he isn't that well recognized because, his numbers don't his traditional statistics don't reflect like a Hall of Fame career. But when you look at, the league adjusted ERA plus, his wins above replacement. Yeah, he's, right up there. He's probably on the same level as a guy like John Smoltz or Tom Glavine. Maybe even Mike Messina. Yeah, if you want to go that far on that level, and he gets completely forgotten in that era of baseball.
Exactly. And I will leave you guys with one final anecdote on the 98 Padres. They captured the hearts of San Diego like no other team in professional sports. It goes that far. Chris, play this video.
Fans know the Padres ship tapes to ships at sea so they can watch the games and cheer for their team during the season.
Right. And now Jerry's being introduced to the crowd by stadium announcer Bruce Binkowski. Mayor's office had a lot to do with putting on this parade today in such short notice. The city of San Diego, the police, the fire, the transportation, Carolyn Wormser in the city manager's office, the trolley people, everybody mobilized so we could have this one more glorious celebration of what the Padres have meant to San Diego today. There they are. There's Jerry and Susan, Mayor Golding and Jerry Coleman, and the Friar. hasn't lost any spirit. All right, let's go down to Mark Grant with Jerry.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Colonel Coleman, what's this feeling like? You've been involved in a lot of championships, especially in your playing days. How's this compare?
Nothing like this. Nothing like when we won in New York, we just walked through it and went home. Here, you can't go home. They won't let you. They love you. These are the best fans in the world, period.
Mayor Golding, you must be awfully proud of your San Diego Padres.
I'm proud of the Padres, and I'm proud of the fans. You couldn't do much better than this.
Your greatness in a world championship.
Chris, this team got swept in the World Series, and they have a parade with 100,000 people in attendance. How often do you see that?
I mean, I feel like it's only justified when you run into a 114-win team in the World Series.
Even I've never seen that before. That city has so much passion for their sports, and it's not even a bandwagon thing. Like, you go and look at Padres teams from, like, I don't know, like 2007 to 2019 when they were awful. Those stadiums still filled up, and it's teams like '98 that really got people invested.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I guess to circle back to today, I mean, this is all, you know, the Padres are all San Diego's got now, so they're especially passionate at this point.
It's hard to believe they took a football team away from that city with that kind of passion.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid. You know, I would go into it, but we're not that.
It is very stupid. I agree with you.
Yeah, I can't imagine Felger and Maz reacting to that type of championship. Like, yeah, on
you know what? Whatever, they can think whatever they want, but that city loves their baseball, and they got a great team that year.
Yeah, I mean, I would be so appreciative if I was a player of that team.
Yeah.
After, but yeah, it does only seem justified when you face quite possibly the greatest team to ever walk onto a field.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even a fair matchup.
No way. No matchup of the '98 Yankees was a fair match.
That team lost 2 games the entire postseason.
Yeah, so they went in total. They went 125-50.
Yeah.
Out of, if you include the regular season and postseason.
Yeah, the Padres had no shame in losing to that team.
No.
And good for the fans, because I'm glad they really showed their appreciation the way they did.
Yeah, that very well appreciated. So that wraps it up for the 1998 Padres. We hope you enjoyed this episode. All right. Oh yeah, we got to get into the.
This is the last selection that either of us are gonna do.
That's correct. It's the last selection ever.
Weird.
If you don't know what we're doing, get with the program. What numbers are left?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. I think you picked number 2 to get Frank Robinson. So I'm going to go in the other direction. I'm going to pick team number 4.
Team number 4. There are very few teams that have ever gotten so famous on a foul ball, but this team did so in one of their playoff series. We are talking about the 2003 World Series champion Florida Marlins.
Yes, I love, we get to talk about Josh Beckett. And
we do get to talk about Josh Beckett. And you know what? It's a great turnaround once we got the team on the list that lost to the Yankees. We now get a team that beat the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of those teams on this list. We've gotten into a lot of them. Yeah, pretty funny how that worked out. But yeah, the 2003 Marlins.
This is the one year that Pudge Rodriguez played for the Marlins. This was the year that Miguel Cabrera made his debut. Jeff Conine was on this team.
Yeah, it's the infancy of like Cabrera, AJ Burnett, Brad Penny, a few other guys.
Yeah, obviously Josh Beckett, like you mentioned before.
Beckett, yeah.
Yep. That is it. That's what we're doing in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we hope you're excited for that one 2 weeks from now. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of the 1998 Padres. If you were listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the videos with us, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe to that YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. And if you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio. And we hope you enjoyed the 1998 Padres episode. And we hope to see you next Tuesday, where we're going to be previewing the National League West. And on
Wait a minute.
Thursday.
Is this episode 98?
Yes.
How fitting. We just realized this, and it's like an hour and a half into the episode.
Hell yeah. That's pretty exciting.
So we got all right, I'm just gonna say we got 3 episodes coming next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're next week we're previewing the NL West. Then you get a special edition of episode 100. It's an all-time draft with 3 guests. And next Thursday for 101, we'll be talking about Frank Robinson. So we will see you when those episodes come out.